Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to tell you all of my unread Book of the Month books. Now, I kind of got this idea from Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. I will link her down below. She's amazing. Some of you have come here because of Sarah, and I saw that when she posted her unread Book of the Month books, I was like, ooh, that's a great idea, because I've been a member since January 2017, and I know I haven't read a whole bunch of them because I'm a really bad person and I just keep adding on and adding on, yet I haven't read a whole bunch. And I can't remember the last time I read a Book of the Month book. It's been a while. During my slump this year, I went 5 months without even getting a box. Like, I just kept skipping months. I've been a member since January of 2017. I found Book of the Month before I found BookTube, even watching it. And I loved it. When I first started, I would at least get one, sometimes 2 or 3 books. I read them all. I found some of my favorite books through Book of the Month. By the way, this is not sponsored. I actually just love their service. And I like some of my favorite books: The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read that book before BookTube even knew it existed. I read it when it first came out, and it's one of my favorite books. All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood is one of my favorite books of all time. Found that through Book of the Month. So, you know, they're good. Though I have 23 unread. I had to decimate my shelves. I had to go pull a whole bunch off the shelf in the living room. There was a huge chunk that was taken out of my bookshelf over here. I have a lot. And honestly, I kind of want your guys' opinion on if you've read these books. Do you think I'd like it? Is it even worth reading? Because some of them, like, I know I've kind of lost interest in. There's actually a huge chunk of books on the app when I'm like looking through, because if I don't read a book or I donate it or I lose interest, I mark it as did not read. And there's quite a few of them that I've already gotten rid of over the years where I've just kind of like lost interest. I've had it for a long time, seemed good when I picked it, or it was in the early part of my subscription where instead of skipping a month, like I was always afraid to skip a month, which was weird. I would just pick whatever, like the closest to something I might read. And then it would sit on my shelf forever and I'd never read it. And so then I end up donating it. So we have 23 books to go over. Some of them I do not remember what they're about, but we're going to give it the good old college try and like the kind of genre they're in. And then you guys tell me in the comments, should I read them? Should I donate some? I might actually decide to donate some right away today. Like, I'm going to go see my friend Sarah later, and I give a lot of books to her. So we'll see how this goes. Again, please let me know in the comments which ones I should read, or which ones I should get rid of, like, and aren't worth my time. So let's get going. So I have these in no particular order. They're just in 3 stacks right here. And I believe there's 23 when I counted. So we're just going to go right off the top right here. So this was a pick for September 2019, The Chestnut Man by Soren Sivistra. This is, believe the author's from Iceland, I think, Norwegian. I can't remember. Oh, Copenhagen. So there we go, Denmark. So this is a thriller about it's a serial killer, I believe, of some kind. Yeah, the Chestnut Man, a psychopath is terrorizing Copenhagen. So it has to do with like dolls. So I guess a crime thriller of some kind. I'm not sure if we're following the detective or what. When I picked this, I think it was the only one that sounded interesting to me. So, because I had a really bad run with some of their literary fictions where they were just pretty much torture porn or like just super sad constantly. So yeah, there's this one. This is quite a chunker. So book number 1. This one I think I'm going to donate. While I've heard good things about it, and I believe Vicky has read this one. This was a pick in February 2019. I don't think I'm going to get on with it just because of the type of story it is. But we'll see, I guess. But I think I'm going to give this one to Sarah today. And that is A Woman Is No Man by Etaf Rum. This is are they Muslim? It doesn't actually say what the religion is or the culture, but I know, if I remember right, it's a Middle Eastern family that this follows, and the women and about what's expected of them. And there's 2 timelines, 1990 and then 2008. And the 1990 timeline is the 2008 girl's mother's story, and it's about the culture that they were raised in, and now they're living in America, but they're still expected to follow this culture and like get married and have babies and arranged marriages and stuff like that, about the women fighting back against it. So it's a literary fiction. It sounded interesting. I haven't heard many people talk about it. I know Vicky read it. Not sure about anybody else. I haven't seen anybody else read it, but I'm not sure if this is going to be like my type of book, like if it's going to keep me engaged. So let me know what you think. Look who's shown up. I'm filming, so he's got to be right here just to make me hotter with the ring light and the hoodie, and now I've got you. Okay, this one, the next one was a September 2018 pick, and that's November Road by Lou Berney. This is a historical fiction. It takes place in the 60s, I believe. Oh yeah, okay, within hours of JFK's murder. So it's a lieutenant to a New Orleans mob boss, and a woman and her child, and something happens and they're escaping and they're going across country. So I guess it's kind of like a road trip, but running from things. So historical fiction literary. I haven't heard anybody talk about this at all. So I'm not sure if I'd like it. I remember I picked it because the thought of, I like historical fiction and I especially love the 60s when this takes place. So I figured that would be a good draw. It's not that big, but I have heard literally nobody talk about it. Not really big on mob things, but I'm sure there's something else in there why these people are running. So next is a pick from October 2019. This, I believe, is a young adult. Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. This is a fantasy. This is like a dragon, of course, all about dragons. From what I've heard, like I know Elliot over to Elliot Brooks really, really loves this series. I think book 2 is already out. She absolutely loves this series. But I've heard that this book is kind of a struggle in the way it's told. But dragons, it had me at dragons. So this one I know I've heard some people talk about, but I'm not sure if it's YA. I usually don't do well with YA. Ooh, next was a pick from August 2019, The Whisper Man by Alex North. This is a thriller about a man and his son, and they move into this house where there's this town where like years ago there was a killer called the Whisper Man who would whisper outside young boys' windows, get them to come out and then torture and murder them. And apparently he's come back and they thought that he was already caught. So I've heard mixed things about the Whisper Man. I know a couple people who have read it, so that's why I didn't pick it up right away, but mystery thriller. This one was February 2019. So, and I'm just saying what the picks are on the back, whether they are an extra book that you could add or if they come in a month. I've added extras from past months, so this might not be like a pick that I picked for that month. It might have been an extra add-on, but that's when, for reference, that's when they came to be, I guess. So this was February 2019, and I think this one was, oh, you just need to pick something kind of book. So I may get rid of this one, but it's The Age of Light by Whitney Scherer. This is a historical fiction that takes place in France, if I remember right. Tells the story of Vogue model turned renowned photographer Lee Miller and her search to forge a new identity as an artist after life spent as a muse. So yeah, Paris in the 1920s. So I like historical fiction, but I have to be in the mood for it. Don't know why I really picked this one because I'm surprised I haven't gotten rid of it. I think it's because it was out in the living room, so I don't look at it all the time. So this one I may donate to Sarah because I think she'd get more. My friend Sarah, who is not Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, my friend Sarah who lives here. I may just give this to her because I don't think I'll ever get around to this one, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. So you guys let me know, but I think this one's gonna go. Okay, next is a Books We Love. So this is an add-on that you could have added, and I added it because why can't I think of her name? Olive from a book. Olive. Or wait, is that her channel name? Olive is her name. She reads all the nonfiction, right? Why am I second guessing myself? Anyways, this is like one of her favorite books. And so I got it, but I haven't read it. And that's Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. I know he's the one that wrote like the Lincoln Highway, the one that just came out, which is historical fiction. This is a historical fiction as well. I think he's the one that wrote Gentleman in Moscow too, I believe, which is totally not my thing. This takes place in 1937. And is it New York? Yeah. New York, jazz era. I only added this because Olive said it was good. don't know if I'm gonna like it. I don't know. I know this is a pretty popular book, so let me know. Okay, next stack. This was, it's a literary read, so this was also not one of their book of the month or one of their monthly picks. It was an add-on. And that's Fleischman is in Trouble by Taffy Brodesser Ackner. This is a literary fiction that is about a man named Toby Fleischman who him and his wife have 15 years separated, and he's having a hard time. I think she's with somebody, dating somebody new, and he's having problems at work and problems with his teenage kids, and it's kind of like a literary fiction with family drama. That's what kind of drew me into it. It was like, okay, so I added this as an add-on. Still haven't picked it up. I haven't heard anybody talk about it either. This one is a thriller. This is also a fiction fave. This has a new cover now, and I believe it became a TV show or a movie. It's called Truth Be Told by Kathleen Barber. This is, I don't remember. I think the title changed too. I can't remember what to. So this is about somebody named Josie who spent the last 10 years trying to escape her family's reputation. So her father was murdered 13 years ago. Her mother ran away to join a cult, and her twin sister betrayed her in an unimaginable way. So she's run away from the family, and she is in New York, and she has a partner, and she's been lying to him the entire time about who she is. And I guess there's an investigative reporter that has a podcast that is talking about Josie's father's murder, and it kind of brings her back into the limelight. I forgot what the new name of this and the new cover, but it was turned into a movie, I believe. So I thought it sounded interesting. I liked the cover. It's just, I've had issues with thrillers, so let me know if you've read it. This was a recent pick, July 2021, which was the last time I actually got a box, except for this month. I picked, there's books in December this month I've picked, so I've got those coming. But yeah, July was the last one before that. And that's 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. This is a thriller that takes place during the COVID pandemic, where these two people just started dating. I think they've been dating a week when COVID hits, and they decide to quarantine together for 56 days, I think is what it is. And I think it's told in reverse order. So somebody's dead in the apartment. So it starts from that and it works its way backwards, I believe. No one even knew they were together. No, now one of them is dead. So I haven't heard anybody talk about this. So I don't mind reading about COVID lockdown shit. At this point, we're going to be like this forever. So it doesn't bother me. So if you've read it, let me know. This one I think I'm going to get rid of because I've heard not so good things about it. I believe this is a YA. And it was a June 2021 pick. Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. This is a fantasy. This is a young adult retelling of the Arthurian legend from, I can't think of her name, from somebody else's point of view. Morgana's point of view, I think. Oh no, Elaine's point of view. And I guess she is some kind of psychic or something, I don't know. But I haven't heard really good things about this one, so I think this one I'm just gonna get rid of and donate now, because hearing all the mixed reviews, I'm not excited to read it anymore. This one, it pains me, but I think I'm gonna get rid of it unless one of y'all tells me that I should definitely read it. I know I'm gonna get a lot of whoa, in the comments, but I haven't picked it up for a reason. This wasn't my October 2020 pick, and that's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I have struggled with V.E. Schwab. I have tried the Darkest Shade of Magic series, didn't like it. It felt very young, very childish, kind of predictable. While I loved the world setup, I just didn't get on with her writing. Tried the Villain series. I read the half of the first book and got bored. So with this being an adult book, I was like, okay, we're going to do it. And the premise sounds really cool. If you've never heard of this, this is about a girl named Addie LaRue who in the 1800s or something like that. It was a long time. Oh yeah. No, 1714. She wants out of the life she's in. So she pretty much makes a deal with the devil, and he pretty much gives her eternal life so that she can go do whatever she wants to do. The only problem is nobody who comes in contact with her will remember her. She can't make any mark on history whatsoever. Anything that she leaves by the next day is gone. So it makes for an interesting life. And then she meets some guy in a bookshop and he actually remembers her. So from what I understand, from what I've heard from all of my friends who have read it, it has very flowery prose and very flowery writing. It's very slow moving. And pretty much everyone who knows me has said that I will hate it. So I don't know why I keep holding on to it. It's like the hype has died down now. So like I could easily read it. I mean, people still aren't talking about it like they used to. But it kind of scares me when I have all your friends going, hey, you're going to hate this book. So, and I think my friend Sarah would love this book. This is totally something she would love. So I think I'm going to bite the bullet. And I think I'm just going to give it to her. If you guys think that I would actually enjoy it, knowing my reading taste, let me know. I can always get it from the library or something like that. But I think I'm going to give this to Sarah because I've held on to it for too long. And I kind of have to go with my friends. If they say I'm not going to like it, I'm probably not going to like it. I'm probably going to hate it. And I don't do well with slow moving stories, which I've been told this story moves at a glacial pace. So I think I'm just going to give this one to Sarah. Oh, this was an add-on. This was like one of those literary, I think I got this one the same time I got Rules of Civility. Secret History by Donna Tartt. Huge chunker. I got this after I heard like Murphy and a couple other, no, not Murphy. Was it Kayla from Books and Lala when she read it and she loved it, though her and I usually don't have the same taste in books. And a lot of people have really loved this, but it's huge. I've heard that it's also kind of slow moving and really pretentious. So I think I'm going to hold on to it and I'll see what you guys say. But this one, I'm like, oh, why did you do this? You're probably not going to like it, but I love Greek mythology. It's just a huge book and it's been sitting on my shelves for at least a year, probably two. This was my pick for April 2020. Vicky has read this and I don't know if liked it is the correct term. It was a pretty hard hitting book. But it's Valentine by Elizabeth Wetmore. This is a literary fiction that is about a girl who gets raped in a small town, I believe. Yeah, it's in Texas. A 14-year-old girl is raped and it's about finding out who did it, the, small town mentality and that kind of shit. I believe there's stuff about race in here. Haunting exploration of the intersections of violence and race, class and region in a story that plumbs the depths of darkness and fear. It offers a window into beauty and hope. So I remember Vicky not necessarily enjoying it because it's a hard story to read. But I believe she gave it like 3 or 4 stars and it's pretty small. So this one just sounded interesting. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts. Another Alex North that I have not read, July 2020, The Shadows. This was another one where I was just like, I'm going to pick it because I need to pick something because I'm stupid instead of just skipping. I haven't even read The Whisper Man, which came first. So I got his other one. Teenagers, somebody died. Oh, okay. So there was a teenager that 25 years ago, he did something awesome. He committed a murder. And then their main character, Paul, remembers the case. The murderer and his victim were his friends. Back to hometown, kind of, I don't know. I don't know much about it. Just know it's like a mystery thriller. And I haven't even read The Whisper Man, but I got this one too. Okay, here we go. Last deck. Okay, this was my pick for February 2020. The Holdout by Graham Moore. This is a crime thriller. This is about a woman who is on a jury, I believe. Somebody vanishes and let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, so it follows a character named Maya who there was a sensational case. She was on the jury, was convicted or was convinced that the person on trial for this girl's murder was innocent and persuades the rest of the jurors to vote not guilty. And now it's 10 years in the future. And there's a true crime docuseries that reassembles the jury with particular focus on her because she's now a defense attorney herself and how she got everybody to say not guilty. And then while they're doing this docuseries, one of the original jurors is found dead in her hotel room. So then it becomes kind of like a crime thriller around her. Like, is somebody killing the jurors, to get back at her? Haven't heard anybody talk about it. Seemed interesting at the time. Still haven't picked it up. Then we have one of my kind of semi-favorite authors. This was a November 2019 pick, The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I love Lisa Jewell. I've read quite a few of her books. I love her stories because it's very much a mystery more than a thriller, and it's totally soaked in family drama, which is totally my thing. I just haven't gotten around to this one yet. This one I'm definitely keeping and want to read. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I've heard mixed things about the family upstairs. This is about a girl or a woman who inherits a house, I believe, and she was adopted when she was younger, and her parents and everybody in the house was dead, was found murdered, and she was in a crib upstairs and alive. So more than likely this will not get supernatural, though Lisa Jewell doesn't do supernatural. It's usually there's people involved. Just haven't gotten to it yet. Let me know your thoughts on it though. This was one of like my first picks. This is July 2018. That's how long I've had. Oh, so about a year in. I think this is the oldest one. The one I've had the longest. That's The Summer Wives by Beatrice Williams. This is a historical fiction that takes place in the 60s, I believe. No, 50s. It's kind of very much a summer read about Winthrop Island and friends. And okay, so 69 and 51. So there's a little bit of a time jump, but it takes place in my favorite time period. I love the 50s and 60s, just about women on this island. It sounded good at the time. I just haven't picked it up. I know that they've had other books by Beatrice Williams in their picks, but this is the oldest one on there, and I've never heard anybody talk about it at all. And I just haven't gotten to it. I can't remember the last time I read historical fiction, but I think this one I'm going to keep because I think I would like it once I read it. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, this one a lot of people have read. This is pretty current. This one was March 2021. Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand read it and really enjoyed it. She's the only one I think that have read it. I started this. I read like the first chapter or so. This is a dual timeline story. The present timeline is about a woman who her husband cheats on her, so she takes a trip to London by herself, finds this little vial on the river Thames. Is that how you say it right? And it's like old, and she's trying to figure out and do this research. She gets with this guy to do this research to figure out what it's from. Then you have the past timeline with the apothecary, where this woman runs this apothecary where she sells potions and tinctures and shit like that to women who are in abusive relationships so they can murder their husbands. So it's very short. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people said it was just kind of meh, okay, like rah. Sarah really liked it from what I remember. I read the first chapter and I really didn't like the main character in the present timeline. She was just whiny, and I don't do well with whiny woe is me characters. So I think I'm going to pass this one along and I just don't think I'm going to like it. I mean, already getting that kind of vibe, like the I don't like the main character vibe that early on, I'll probably end up DNFing it anyway. So I think I'm going to pass this on to my friend. Next, this was February 2021. Girl A by Abigail Dean. This is, I believe Sarah has this one on her shelf too. This one is a hard-hitting, gritty family drama literary fiction. It's about a girl who grew up in a house of horrors. Like, her parents were horrifically abusive to her and her siblings, but she's considered Girl A, the girl who escaped the eldest sister who freed her older brother and younger siblings. It's been easy enough to avoid her parents. Her father never made it out of the mess he created, and her mother spent the rest of her life behind bars. But when her mother dies in prison and leaves Lex and her siblings the family home, she can't run from her past any longer. Together with her sister Evie, Lex intends to turn the House of Horrors into a force for good. First, she must come to terms with her siblings and with the childhood they shared. So, it says, what begins as a propulsive tale of escape and survival becomes a gripping psychological family story about the shifting alliances and betrayals of sibling relationships and the secrets siblings keep from themselves and each other. So this is very much a survival story, which turns into kind of like a psychological fuck with your head story about sibling relationships. So it sounded really good, especially like the House of Horrors part and like escaping that and what it does to them. I'm just worried. I haven't picked this up only because I've heard it's very slow moving, and it worries me because it feels like it might be one of those ones where it's just all sad shit and like nothing good happens. Like, I'm okay with literary fiction that does the sad shit really well, as long as by the end of the story there's hope or something happy is like on the horizon. I don't like ones where there's the poor characters are tortured for the entire book and nothing good ever happens. So this one I'm still very much interested in, but I haven't heard anybody talk about it that they've read it. So if you have, please let me know your thoughts. This is a book that Vicky has read, May 2020. A Good Marriage by Kimberly Mcrae. This is a thriller that is about a woman who's a lawyer, and an old friend of hers like is accused of killing his wife, and so she becomes his lawyer. From what I remember her saying, it's very much a courtroom drama thriller kind of deal. I just haven't picked it up. Not that Vicky liked it just fine. I just haven't picked it up, which seems to be the case with like 90% of these books. Two more. We got two more, right? Two more. Okay. This one, I've been holding on to it and I think I'm going to like it. I just haven't picked it up. This was just an add-on, a fantasy read, A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I know a lot of people have read this one. I know Becca really loved the first one, didn't really like the second one. I just haven't picked it up yet. It was one of those ones with the hype being so big, I just kind of left it to let the hype die down. I think I'm going to like it, but from what I hear, the narration style is a little weird, so we'll see. This one's a popular one. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts. Okay, the last one, August 2020. The Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes by Alyssa R. Sloan. This one I got because this tells the story, and I think it's in two timelines. In the present timeline, it's about a girl group who has since broken up, and the lead singer, who is super popular, has died by suicide. And it's everybody else from the band getting back together and like remembering her and talking about her and trying to figure out what happened. Because once they broke up, like nobody talked to her, and trying to figure out if they could have helped her and like what happened to get her to that point. I think one of my subscribers has read this. Was it Natalia? Did you read this? I can't remember. They had said that it was okay, like not that good. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. It's quite the chunker, but I love stories about bands and fame and stuff like that. It's as with all the drama and stuff, I tend to like those. So that's why I got it. And I just haven't gotten to it yet. Okay. Those are the 23 unread book of the month books that I have currently still in my possession. Please let me know in the comments down below which ones I should read. If you've read them, which ones do you think I'll like? Which ones should I get to first? I'm going to make a big effort next year in 2022 to try to get a lot of these read, like at least read one a month or maybe two a month, especially since there'll be more coming in. Oh, speaking of more coming in, my December book picks. Okay, so my December box has 4 books in it, so I'm going to go from 23 to 27. Oh, wait, no, because I'm getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm getting rid of 5. So I will have 22. So I will have 1 book less than I do now because I got 4 in my box. Usually in your box, you can only get 3. You get your pick and then you can have 2 add-ons. But because I am a BFF, because I've been a member of Book of the Month for 4 years, January 2017, so it'll be 5 years in next month, that I get a Book of the Year pick for free. So a Book of the Year finalist for free. So I ended up with 4. So my Book of the Month pick was A History of Wild Places by Shea Ernshaw. I have read The Wicked Deep and absolutely loved it. A mesmerizing tale about the search for a missing woman, last seen going into an isolated forest town with some secrets. So the synopsis is, okay, so it's about a guy named Travis who has an unusual talent for locating missing people. Hired by families as a last resort, he requires only a single object to find the person who's vanished. So he takes on the case of Maggie St. James, a well-known author of dark, macabre children's books. He's led to a place many believe to only be legend. Called Pastoral, this reclusive community was founded in the 1970s by like-minded people searching for a simpler way of life. By all accounts, the commune shouldn't exist anymore, and soon after Travis stumbles upon it, he disappears, just like Maggie St. James. Years later, Theo, a lifelong member of Pastoral, discovers Travis's abandoned truck beyond the borders of the community. No one is allowed in or out, not when there's a risk of bringing a disease, rot, into Pastoral. Unraveling the mystery of what happened reveals secrets that Theo, his wife Calla, and her sister Bee keep from one another. Secrets that prove their perfect isolated world isn't as safe as they believed, and that darkness takes many forms. Okay, first of all, I love Shea Ernshaw, and while The Wicked Deep, the twist was very predictable, it was so atmospheric, and she writes beautifully. Like, the atmosphere is so beautiful. Like, you feel like you're there. And that book takes place on a coastal town where, like, you can literally feel the sea spray in your face. That was like a witch's story. So, so good. So when I saw this, I'm like, fuck yeah, I need this. Like, secret community in the woods that gives off, that one movie where the village where they're like living alone in the middle of the woods, and they're blind, or not blind, but like they're living like it's like the 1700s, but really it's not, and you're led to believe that it's way in the past, or there's something evil in the woods. Totally gives me vibes from that, where they're all by themselves, and you can't leave because you might get sick. Meanwhile, everybody else is living just fine all around them. Oh, I'm excited for this one. I love Shea Ernshaw's writing. I did not read the book that came after The Wicked Deep, but I'm really excited for this one. And then I also got A Flicker in the Dark by Stacy Willingham. This is a thriller. It's a debut. When a serial killer emerges with an eerily familiar pattern, Chloe Davis wonders if she's really escaped her past. So I believe... Oh, yeah, that's right. When she was young, there was 6 teenage girls that went missing. Her dad was accused and charged with the murders. And now 20 years later, she's a psychologist and the murders start happening again. So it's a thriller. I really need to get on my thriller game. I haven't read any in a long time. And so I'm excited for that one. It sounded interesting. I love serial killers within families and stuff like that. So that one I'm pretty stoked about. Then I got Apples Never Fall, I think is it Apples Never Fall or Apples Will Fall? It's by Liane Moriarty. It's her new one. I've had it sitting in my cart waiting for when I actually had a pick. This one I'm excited about. I love Liane Moriarty. I've read almost all of her books. She's literary fiction, usually full of family drama. I love her shit. So that one, you know, no brainer. And then for the add-on, that was a Book of the Year finalist. First of all, Book of the Year finalist, like 4 wins by Kristen Hanna. Didn't want any torture porn. The romance, I can't remember, Emily Henry or whatever romance. I don't like basic, you know, romance. You know, I like fantasy romance. I don't like regular romance. So that one went out the window. I didn't want that one. The other one was Lost Apothecary, which I already have. And there was another one that I'd already read. So the winner was, for me, to pick. So Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This is a hard-hitting crime thriller-like about 2 men whose sons were married and were brutally murdered. And now they're trying to find justice for their sons. But one's black, one's white, I believe. One is they're both ex-cons. And so this talks a lot about race and homophobia and them changing their minds because neither of them are very supportive of their sons being married, but they're searching for justice for their sons. I've heard nothing but good things about this. Everybody says that it's super hard hitting and just really gritty and good. I will be buddy reading this with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand once we get around to it. She's getting it she has it as well. And so we've decided we're going to buddy read it. Not sure when, but that'll be happening at some point. So that's it. Those are all of my unread book of the month books. Oh my God, I've been filming for way too long. Again, please let me know in the comments down below which ones that you guys enjoyed, if you've read any of them, which ones you think I would like. Are there any that I should just get rid of and just be done with it now and just get rid of them? Because I'm more than willing to do that. If I'm not going to like them, I mean, I'm already getting rid of 5 that I've already lost interest in and I shouldn't even have on my shelves anymore to begin with. So again, please let me know down in the comments below which ones I should read, which ones I should toss, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.